Hey guys, what's up? Appaluna.
I'm Luna Elizabeth.
We are here wanting to talk to you guys a little bit about, I guess, our history. I don't know if we ever explained it. I'm assuming we haven't really gone into detail. So we thought we would come here today and tell you kind of a little bit of our background, not magical background, but maybe more our religious background and kind of how we got to the point we got, kind of thing. We have been in each other's lives always. My best friend in the whole wide world is my cousin Monica, and my cousin Monica is like 5 years older than me, and me and her are 13 years apart. I am 13 years older than my sister. I'm much older than my sister. My sister's the young maiden, and I'm the mother. And we've been connected through religion, through our blood, and always been in each other's lives.
We have an exact 13-year age difference. Magically speaking, that's significant.
Very.
We came from a Jehovah's Witness background, so our parents kind of brought us into that religion, and it wasn't by choice, but through that religion we discovered a lot about ourselves, especially on a metaphysical occult level. There was a really strict kind of Christian household that we were raised under, and through rigorous studies and the inculcating of the Bible into our brains, we learned a lot. And I think that we learned a lot by actually paying attention and by reading, because it was through the extremities of Christianity that we discovered our talents.
Yes.
For magic and the occult. So in that sense, other than our grandmothers and our grandmothers knowing like folk magic, we were born magical, and we led a very magical life, and are still leading that life.
I'll be honest, our families, like cousins and brothers and sisters, are very magical. Whether some of them practice or not, a lot of ours do practice, but we have some that don't necessarily, but they're still very psychic, and they're still able to make things happen with the sheer will. So it's in our blood, like it really is. It courses through our veins. We're very lucky in that sense, even with the Jehovah's Witness thing, which was very hard. Not an easy childhood in that sense. It's a brainwashing cult. That religion meant more than we could ever mean to our families. Like, that's how important the religion is to them. Like, they will die for it.
They separate themselves from the rest of the world.
From their families.
Just like their headquarters.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been there. I've been to the Watchtower and Tract Society. It's creepy. They have stores underground just for Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, it's a creepy place. That place is fucked up.
I remember being really little. I was about, I want to say, like 8 years old when they really started to want to get me involved in and they call it the ministry. You know, it's within the Jehovah's Witness religion. They don't call it a church that they go to, they call it a kingdom hall. But I was about that age, 8 years old, to where they wanted to start getting me involved and like actually go up there and speak and have little Bible studies and little sermons, right? And I was always defiant. Ever since then, I've always been defiant. But, what do you do when you're that young? So I'd sit down during a book study and I would read, and a lot of times it would be reading something, but I would go off into the back of the Bible and kind of go on my own little, I wasn't paying attention except to what I was reading. And in the back of my father's Bible, which he got from Uncle Henry, and it was one of those Bibles that only elders can have.
Yeah.
And in the back, they had like the table of the zodiac. Yeah, and a bunch of occult imagery, and I was fascinated with that.
The founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses was a Freemason. Okay, so let's just say this religion, it's kind of like L. Ron Hubbard and the whole fucking Scientology thing. He was an actual occultist who started that. I mean, these religions are started on purpose. Like, that guy, he was practiced magic, and he was buried with a Freemason stone. So,
with that big fucking triangle.
So I would think if you had died a Jehovah's Witness, you would have had a fucking lamb or whatever the fuck. I don't know actually when I think about it. When I got into the Jehovah's Witness funerals, I don't remember them ever having anything but the crown. You know that crown and the ray of light representing like the God's kingdom,
like
or
the
whatever.
Watchtower.
Yeah, or the Watchtower. It's just our families. Like my mother was a regular pioneer. She served where the need is great, which is like going to Africa and Spain and all these places and serving to like these poor villages. Like our families were very high up. They were like elders. They were high up in this organization. So it wasn't like we just went sometimes. We were forced to go 3 times a week, go door to door, try to convince people when we didn't even know really. Like I didn't believe in it. I knew from the time I was very young that it was bullshit, and how our families couldn't figure that out is beyond me.
It's like they didn't want. It's like I feel like they knew. You knew.
How could you not?
But they didn't want to because it was so. It's so easy to believe. And think about it. Look how our parents grew up in a very controlled society. You know, where they're told this is how a man should be, this is how a woman should be, and that religion really pandered to that.
It's like when I think about it, my mother was always about where she was in life, you know, because she was like high school cheerleader, she was homecoming queen. So coming into this, there was a place to work up to. You know what I mean? Where people would respect you. You're popular. It's ridiculous, but it's true. And I guess if you think about most organizations, it kind of has that, you know, where you can reach to this level.
Think about it, Sam. Your mom and my dad. But think about it. Your mom lived a really hyper-feminine life.
Oh, yes.
My dad lived a really hyper-masculine life. And that pandered to them even more in the religion, you know? And look how you and I turned out.
You know what I would say, though? My mother always told me that she was glad that I didn't pretend. Because I left. I stopped going to the Kingdom Hall when I was about, like, 15. That at least I stuck by what I believe, as opposed to a lot of my friends who got to fellowship like 2 or 3 times.
That's what Diaketa told me.
Yeah. At least we stuck by what we believed. We never wavered. I will say that.
I never even tried. I'll be honest. I never tried. I knew because
there was no point. You are who you are. You are who you are, and it's okay, you know, to be that. So I'm glad. But it did pique my interest because when I was about 11, my mother got a tape for me to stop me from listening to heavy metal, because back then they thought you become a Satanist if you did. And it talked to me about Aleister Crowley and McGregor Mathers and Helena Blavatsky and all these people do that. I was like, ooh, I gotta study these people. Went to the library, and I tell her it's her fault I got into the occult. Because it was through that it recognized everything. I recognized it was instantaneous. And I knew I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So it was a good thing. I guess in a sense we were brought up that way. Because we learned a lot of occult knowledge through the Jehovah's Witnesses, believe it or not.
I was so fascinated that they had this book called the Revelation book. And it was this red hardcover book. And it was a study book. It went along with the Book of Revelations, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, hence the title. But in the back, and throughout the book, they had illustrations. And in back of this book, there was the illustration of the great harlot on the beast.
Yes.
And that was the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen. That, and they had like Jesus on some like chariot or something.
You know what? We still have all those old books. My dad does.
Really?
He still has them. Brian pulled them out.
Remember Frances Sandoval?
Yeah.
She gave us all her books.
Like if
she got disfellowship for being a lesbian.
Aww. See?
I don't know how they couldn't tell though. She was big old fucking guy.
Jehovah's Witnesses, I have something for you. Check this out. I know you guys are all about money. If you guys somehow found a way to let the gays in, you know how much fucking money you guys would make? Imagine like powder blue little like Bibles you could sell for like $50 with monograms and shit. You guys can make a lot of money. You should let them in if they want.
They are in. Who do you think does all the illustrations?
Right. It's just fucked up.
Who does the maps in the back of the Bible? The lesbians. Duh. But you want to know something cool? It's like, we're talking about this, and it seems like we went together, but actually, we didn't grow up.
She got the newer books, and like books that I never saw that came out because I had stopped going by then. You know what I mean? And I had the old books where they've changed a lot of the stuff from those books, and some of those books aren't even in print anymore.
The books that I had when I was going, they're not in print anymore either.
Like we had this pink one.
Yeah, I remember that. The Great Teacher. Remember that?
That one. And then there was like a Book of Life or some shit like
remember
that.
Remember the Young People's Ass book?
Yes, and then
remember that section in there,
stories.
All about sex and masturbation.
Very bad. Yeah.
Actually, there's a 13 age year difference, right? I didn't go to the Kingdom Hall with her. You know, I went with her mom. Her mom, like, you know, took care of me and babysat me along with our aunt. But she was already gone. But we went through exactly the same things through our Jehovah's Witness career.
We were the black sheep. We really were. I was announced bad association when I was 13 years old, and they gave a talk, and nobody was allowed to hang out with me. I hung out with the other bad kids, you know? And basically the same thing happened to my
almost exactly the same thing, just with different people, obviously.
Just different people. But it had to do with the occult. It had to do with the occult, and it had to do with what they thought it was Satanism. And because I was unrepentant, because I didn't think I did anything wrong, they did that. They marked me. So, which is fine. Whatever. I didn't care. But we went through the same stuff. It's really weird, but we did. And then, like, I hadn't seen or heard from Luna or Luna's family in forever. And I finally had gotten a position of hiring people, and in walks Veronica in, and I'm like...
My mother.
And she was like, hey, remember me? Yeah, okay, I had a very sordid life after the Jehovah's Witness thing. I partied my ass off. I have lots of adventures and stories, like crazy-ass stories. Yeah.
She's my cousin. Sam is my cousin through my father's side. My mother, was married to my father, but, like, it's all through my father's side that we're related. We are cousins.
I say she's my sister because I have never, and I've had two other best friends in my life, but never anything remotely like this. Like, I can feel her. I know what she's thinking. I can feel her when something bad's happening and she's not anywhere near me. I know. I don't know how to explain it.
Just like when she's pissed. I know. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, do I really want to go into work today? Okay. I know what I'm about to witness. And it's like she's a fucking fire sign, man. So she's like, I'm a lot more methodical when I'm mad. Like, I'll plan shit out.
I blow up. I can't hold it. But I don't stay mad for long. But when I do, it's pretty aggressive, I guess. It's pretty... I'll tell you to fuck yourself. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, when I get mad, it can get bad. But when she came back to my life, like, a whole new magical journey was started, I feel like, in my life. Because we both, I think, brought each other things that the other hadn't been doing. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Because when we came back to each other, I was 19 at the time. And prior to that, I was a baby. Like, I was little. I was like a toddler. She was already out, living her adult life, and I was still a child. But, like, when we entered each other's lives again, I was already much older. And I had my own magical experiences and things that I was into and what I was studying at the time. And at the time, I was starting to really get into tarot cards. And she hired my mom at this store called Tuesday Morning, which was like this home goods store. And my mom talked a lot about me to her because of, like, the musical interest that we had. I didn't know anything about her having any kind of magical knowledge. I just purely thought it was on a movie.
A creative level.
Oh, cool. She's like, hey, you remember your Aunt Rosie? Remember? Yeah, I remember Aunt Rosie. Well, I got in contact with Sammy Jean. And she hired me, right? And so, like, I remember my Aunt Rosie, which they look just like each other. And so, like, when I went, I was like, Aunt Rosie? Like, I was like, you know what I mean? I thought that's what it was. And then we had this big old talk about Babes in Toyland and Kitty, and then I had some cards, some tarot cards, and I asked if I could read her. And she kind of already knew. I was like, oh, you have some knowledge. And that's when we started talking about King Diamond.
Yeah. I remember because, like, okay, people thought we were weird because, like, we'd run into things, like dead animals and things, and we'd be like, we need this! We need this, we're going to use this.
And it'd just be in the freezer for, like, ever.
We hadn't thought about what to do with
it. We were working one day, and the front of the store was all clear window, large window, no walls. And all of a sudden, she was sweeping, and boom, a bird comes and flies into the window and just dies. And we're like, oh shit, let's go look at it. And we're like, is it okay? No, I think it's dead. And we looked at each other, oh, let's save it. So we picked it up, we put it in some...
It was
in the freezer, at the back of the store, like the break room.
We honored the bird. We did. We honored it.
Hey, we didn't kill it. It wasn't that. It's a natural cause.
It was suicide. It was suicide. It wanted to die. It's how humans...
And so we had been planning this ritual with this dead bird, and that never came into fruition.
Like, I know. We never did it. But My point is, you always keep your eyes open for things you may need.
It's been a journey since the day we came back to each other.
And our journey is still strong. Like, we have a lot of plans. Like in the next 10 years, some big fucking shit's gonna happen. That's all I can describe it as, big fucking shit. But something really major is in the works, and we are focusing on that and trying to put our creative talents and our magical talents together, you know?
Yes.
And of course, we could do it without each other, but I trust her more with my life, and she trusts me with hers, so...
We've tried with other people, it just doesn't...
It doesn't work the same.
I always feel like I end up, like, doing everything, or they're not really into it, or, you know, or they get scared, and they're like, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be, I gotta go. Bye.
I don't, like...
Or they just do it for the time, and they're like, I wasn't really feeling it anyway. But with her, it's like, I don't have to show her anything. She doesn't have, well, we like, show each other things.
We have ideas. We bounce off ideas from each other and stuff, but we know what we're doing, instinctually. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, and I feel like we bring each other opportunities. Like, if an opportunity comes, but I know it's not mine, it goes to her, and vice versa. So, I don't know, we bring good things for one another, just with the work that we do anyways, and we strengthen each other's magic by not even trying to. You know, I could be in the room, and I'll strengthen hers and vice versa. Like, we can do that for each other. Like, I don't know. And I don't have that magical bond with very many people, and to be honest with you, not like that, no. You know, I've worked with other people.
It has to do with blood.
Like, really
because we share blood. And actually, our astrology matches. Like, we're not exactly the same sun sign, but my rising is her moon, and her moon is my rising. And she has a lot of air, like a lot of Aquarius, and I have a lot of Sagittarius. And it just kind of, like, yin and yang.
We're good,
you know,
like
the same but different.
We are. I don't know. It's funny. It's just like we get each other. I don't know. It's something special. And so our magical partnership is just as important as our friendship and sistership, and also our creative, because we jam out and we, you know, write songs, and we have other endeavors also that we do. Yeah.
We've done some pretty fucking crazy things too magically. We had this. Well, she wasn't really our friend. She was an acquaintance, but she was really like to hang out with her. And she was so obsessed with this guy, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And this guy did not want anything to do with. He wanted to, like, bang her, and that was it. That was it, okay? Nothing else. But no, this little girl was intent on making him hers. And she invited us over one time to, you know,
I remember that,
smoke a few bowls and eat some cheesecake and
do some magic for her.
Yeah. We ended up doing magic for her, and I was 19 at the time. I think you were...
I was like 31 or 32.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And all of it was just this red candle, and we were so, like, on another planet, you know, so it was easy for us. Okay, that guy asked her out the next day, and they started seeing each other for about a week.
And we're like, yeah, nice, I told you we'd do it.
Until...
A little too good?
He became so obsessed with her. Do you understand? Like, so obsessed to the point where he was stalking her. Where he was coming to our work and waiting for her, because she worked with us, waiting for her outside of the shop from the time she went in until the time she left, and following her home. She had to get a restraining order. And she broke it off with him, and he would write us, like, why isn't she talking to me?
Yeah.
And then we were at work one day, and I'm like, what did we do? Did we do that? That was us, right?
Okay, on a side note, careful what you wish for. Okay, I will say this by experience, because my sister helped me with a man that I had fallen in love with. This is a long time ago. It's like 2008. Okay, I loved this guy. Okay, I won't say anything other than that. So we went to Idlewild, and we created a ritual.
It was 2007.
2007, I created a ritual to make him love me 1,000 times more. Talk about extreme, right? I thought if I go the extra mile. Got it! Oh my god! I couldn't get rid of it! Don't ever do that! Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
I learned from that point on, the only time to do magic in a relationship is to make a relationship better or more peaceful. Never to make somebody love me. they already loved me. Whenever I do magic like that, I always say, like, if you love me, then this will happen. But if you don't love me, it's not going to, because I don't want fake love. You know, but to try and make something better or more calm, yes. So me and her really go with love magic like that. I will say.
Okay, that same ritual, that was her end of it. On my end of it, I was trying to bring somebody new. Okay, and I did get somebody new. And
specific.
I had to do a lot with those, and not only that, I asked for somebody magical, and that's when I got with Justin. And like that, okay, this was my first taste of the Nordic runes. All right, she had talked to me about them.
I'd been working with them for a long time,
but I really didn't know very much about them until I met this guy, and he was really into them. And at the time, I liked him, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I want to be with you. Not yet. I was kind of lingering. I was really young. I was lingering for somebody else, right? And so I was figuring, you know, we're good friends. We're both into magic. Hey, want to help me do a magic spell on somebody? He's like, all right. I didn't tell him who. I just needed him to like lend me his energy while I did this, right? So we did this spell, and I was like, I need you to make a wish. And I want you to wish with all of your might, right? That was like the payment of him helping me with the spell. So he made his wish, and that night we spent the night together. But before that, he started massaging me, right? And he was with his finger.
Magical men do this all the time, okay?
With his finger, he was carving
sigils and stuff, right? Yeah,
runes on my back. Okay, binding me to him, right? And I was I wasn't aware of that until later, but I was so fucking in love with him after that. I was like, I need to keep this man, right? So I turned around and I put a binding on him, and we became so fucking bound to each other, to the point of like deep obsession. Like we were together all the time. And I was so jealous, and he was so jealous, and we fought all the time. And it was actually really chaotic. Our friends had to separate us. Do you understand? Like,
yes, I remember this whole period of time, because my sister would come to my work every single day. I love that. I miss that. I'd come and have lunch with me and stuff, and then she would bring this boy, I'm not shitting you, with like a dog chain, like dragging him around the store, and he totally would willingly like walk with it, and I'd be like, it must be love. It must be love.
I was obsessed with him.
But
I was really young too.
But those are lessons, like, when it comes to love. I remember my magic teacher telling me, if you're going to manifest a person, you better not just talk about personality. You better manifest what they look like so you're attracted to them. Like, you better manifest everything. Like, be very exact, you know?
And make sure that they're not assholes.
Yeah, and that's another thing, what you don't want. I don't want this in somebody. As much as what you want. You know, it's really important. We're so funny. I swear to God. I don't know why.
It's all experimentation. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, a lot of these new kids out there, you know, they're just out of high school or still in high school.
It's so cute.
But they didn't have all the drugs and all the fun times that, you know.
Oh my. Oh. Yes. Trust me when I tell you this.
Especially mixing it with magic.
I do feel, and this is just an opinion, so people are going to talk shit like that bitch cat, I don't give a fuck. But let me tell you, drugs have their place in magic, okay? It's all about knowing when and doing it in a controlled environment with a goal in mind, you know, a spiritual goal in mind. There's different ways to do drugs. You can have fun with them, like just going and partying and stuff, and that's good. But if you want to do a spiritual, magical journey, you have to be in that mindset when you do it, you know? And there's nothing wrong with doing that in order to achieve enlightenment sometimes. I'm not saying every single time, okay? Don't get me wrong there. But when you're going on a spiritual quest, and you know what drugs to take. I'm not saying go do a bunch of speed, alright? That's not what I'm saying. There are certain kinds of drugs you can take that will elevate your mind and your spirit, and that's what I'm talking about. So, be right back real quick. But, so that's our approach. Like the weed thing, I mean, that just elevates.
That's not even a drug.
And it's not even a drug.
It's a vegetable.
It is from the earth. It's
God
fine.
put it on earth for me and for you.
But you know what I'm talking about. They're like doing acid or mushrooms or, you know, X, DMT. I've never done that, but I do want to try it.
I don't know about that, man. I see a lot of people trip on that, like on YouTube. I just watch because I want to see what it look like, and they're
like
puking their brains
they're
out.
like near-death experiences, I think, are supposed to be. Okay, and once again, I'm not telling people to do this. I'm just saying that I had a friend that did it, and he was telling me about